Welcome to Hot to Trot.
I'm your host, Ashley Eisenbeil.
This is not your normal horse racing podcast. Well, welcome to a very special episode of Hot to Trot. This is our spooky Halloween roundtable episode, and I have been waiting, as you can see, all year to do this episode. And I have some special guests on our spooky roundtable. Is that Smarty Jones over there? Oh, it's not? It's not Smarty? No. Who is that?
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Hot to Trot. Is that Jaylin? Is that Judgy Jaylin under there?
It's the one and only Jaylin Marie McManus, here for her duty as the horse.
Well, as you can see, I am Wager Warrior, so maybe I'll ride you in a race. There we go. I don't know. I think you would be a trotter because your shirt says trick or trot. That's cute. Bella's over here growling. Maybe she's scared of the Wager Warrior. So we also have another great co-host with us today on our round table and special guest, Lisa Martin. You might remember her. She was the camera lady for her parents' special episode. Clarence and Mary Martin joined us very early on in season one of our first interviews, a great time, and she is one of my dearest friends. So Lisa, I appreciate you being on.
Hi, thank you. It's so good to be here today.
Well, you get around to quite a few tracks, and you actually wear a lot of hats in the industry. Tell us, what are your jobs, your multiple jobs that you have?
So during the week, I run a small stable with my dad, Clarence, which, like Ashley said, you guys already met earlier in the season. We operate out of a town called Honesdale, Pennsylvania, which is not too far from Pocono Downs. And then when I'm not helping Dad run the barn, I actually pack my bags and I hit the road and I travel to Tioga Downs, which is outside of Binghamton, New York, where I'm their race charter. And I've actually just counted and I've been charting for 10 years now, which seems totally crazy because it was never really something I planned on doing this early in my life. But the ball kind of went rolling and I've just kind of went with it.
Lisa, what is a race charter? I've heard of it. I don't know.
Okay. So I work up in the very top of the grandstand in a room next to the judges. And my job is to measure the distance between each horse the entire mile. So at every pole, I'm measuring the distance. And then I've learned and kind of went to a school, took some classes. And then after I do the chart, which is kind of like chicken scratch to anybody else, but to me or a race charter, it makes sense. Then I input it into the USTA, and then that is the information that provides gamblers with the program.
And did you always know you wanted to be in the industry? I know you grew up in it with your parents, but is this something like you didn't know, you kind of like fell back in love with and knew you wanted to come back to it after college?
So I went to college. Yes, I have a degree in marketing. I used it a little bit, not really. It's kind of this thing where once you learn, you can always go back home. And you get to make your own schedule and stuff like that. There's some days, yes, in our business where it's a long, hard day. It's tough on you. It's tough on your heart. You're really involved. So once you learn you can do that, it's really hard to go to a 9 to 5 and punch a time clock and wait for your lunch break and then wait for the day to be over and put your dress clothes on every day. So I did the real world for a while, and then I kind of had the opportunity where I could move back home and work for my dad, and I just kind of decided that was pretty much end game for me, and I've never been happier.
That's amazing. You guys are also a little bit of snowbirds. You fly down south in the winter, which is really nice.
Yeah, so actually we're getting ready here shortly. We'll leave the week before Thanksgiving. So we pack everything up, the horses, the dogs, the cats, all of our stuff, load up the truck and trailer, and we head south for the winter. And we stay there till about the second week of April, and then we make the ship back north.
That's awesome. I always miss you in the winter, but I'm always jealous.
I don't miss the snow, though. I'm not a snow girl. I'm a sunshine kind of person.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like the snow. I got married in January, and
oh gosh,
I know. Well, everyone knows my anniversary is always the fair banquet, where we We always get together in Bedford for the fair banquet. And me and Rob are always celebrating our anniversaries on January 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Bedford and our spooky theme,
Oh, yeah.
Bedford, we every year, and Jaylin got to join us this year. We go in January to Bedford at the Omni Springs, and if you don't know, look it up because you have a chance to visit there. It is an amazing, amazing place to go. They
So
have
beautiful.
a great spa, which we all enjoy. We loved that. But it's also got a spooky past. It's a very old building,
Mm-hmm.
and they do ghost tours. And I have to shout out my little Wyatt because Jaylin, did you go ghost hunting with Wyatt?
Absolutely not. I don't do ghost. I don't do spooky. I don't do any of that. So that would not be me.
No.
Was it you, Lisa? I know I
No,
did
I mean,
twice.
I think he tried to get me to do it, but no, I'm not into that kind of stuff either. So,
Yeah, my little guy Wyatt is just like his mom and decided he was going to go hunting for ghosts at the Omni Bedford with his phone. He downloaded some app and
he did.
so he's going around taking pictures like, Mom, I found a ghost.
He was messing with me all weekend.
Yeah.
Like, there's a ghost right behind you.
Then he got like some of the other kids to do it with him too. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's always nice to see the kids get together and have a good time while the adults are having a good time at the same time. So it's always a great time at Bedford.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've never had any ghostly encounters over the years at Bedford, but I mean, it does give you creepy vibes at times, but I've never
Yes.
had any experiences, so to say. I don't know. I love this stuff. This is like something I've always been interested in. My brother, he's been in the Coast Guard over the years. He's actually like for my birthday, when he'd go to different cities and stuff, he would get me a tour of like a ghost tour in like the town. So I've done New Orleans, Charleston. I did an Alaskan tour in Ketchikan. Like I've done quite a few ghost tours. Did Baltimore, Gettysburg.
Jeez.
Oh, Sleepy Hollow. That's where me and Rob honeymooned, was in Sleepy Hollow, New York. Headless Horseman vibes. This is my time to shine, people.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, so can I show my shirt?
Yeah, show your shirt.
So how cute is this? It's horses dressed as ghosts with pumpkins. Isn't that the cutest thing you've ever seen?
I love it.
So
Oh, and they have the little trick or treats in their
Yeah, and
mouths.
so I actually have a Christmas one too where they're all tangled up in Christmas lights.
Aw.
And Jaylin has her trick or trot. So, and I'm the wager warrior,
You're ready.
bringing you free PPs. It's kind of like Santa Claus, but for a horse player. All right. Well, Lisa, you
Yeah.
brought to my attention we were talking about horse costumes because I do love the peeps that dress up their horses. And you brought us a ton of examples.
Yeah, so Pocono used to do what they called a gray ghost race. And that was cute because everyone would kind of like face paint their horse to look like a skeleton or something. And it was really fun in the paddock because a lot of the drivers would dress up, some of the grooms would dress up, and it was actually a really great time. But another racetrack takes the cake when it comes to Halloween. So we're going to cruise on over to Harrah's Hoosier Park, which is over in Anderson, Indiana, and they go all out. Like they have sign-up sheets and all of this, and they do a horse and child costume contest. And they have trick-or-treating, and it's so freaking cute. It's unreal. So actually, did you guys see them? Which one's your favorite?
My favorite is Barbie.
Oh, I knew you would say that. I knew it.
It was good.
It
And
was
Ken,
Yeah. So my favorite is the one where the horse is dressed up as a spooky carousel ride. And it's like free spooks and kind of thing. That one's super cute. But I do have to say the groovy hippies, where they're all dressed as hippies and throwing the peace sign, that one's pretty adorable as well.
It's definitely The Grinch. Anybody who knows me knows The Grinch is my life. It is my all-time favorite movie. So that one is my favorite. The Barbie one's very impressive. I think they went all out. The Grinch people could have gone out a little bit more.
Yeah, they could have went a little harder. They kind of
Yeah.
let up.
Yes. but the Grinch is going to be my favorite.
Okay. So
Agreed.
yeah, that's fun. And actually, I just saw on Facebook that they're doing it again this year. So I can't wait to look at Facebook and catch up on the pictures, and we can talk about them next year.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to go to a racetrack instead of trick-or-treating for some spooky vibes, you can head to Penn National, Harrah's, Philadelphia, and the Meadows. They will all be live racing on Halloween this year.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear if they're going to do anything fun at the racetrack. They usually do, but we'll see. Usually the outriders like to dress up their horses a lot at the racetracks. Hey, it's fun. Like, wagering is better than candy most days for me. Well, part of our spooky episode is we are going to be sharing some ghost stories we found on the internet. And then lastly, I am going to be sharing a ghost story at a racetrack that I used to work at that happened to me. So, a personal experience. So I know what really surprises me is there's not more ghost stories about horse racetracks because they're so historic, so old, and they used to be such like a staple in a community where lots of people gathered and had like high intense energy. You would think there would be more paranormal like activity and stories. I thought, you hear these things about like cruise ships and, all those places, hotels being haunted, but you don't really hear about the racetracks. But you put everything together, the atmosphere, the high intensity wagering, especially back in like the 30s and 40s, like would be like a mobster's time. Get all that stuff in there. That it like kind of has like the whole paranormal energy would still be there because you had so many people going in and out of those racetracks back in the day. I don't know. I would think there would be more. Maybe once we do this episode, there will be a like inpouring of our inbox of stories that people have. So please send them to us if you have any haunted stories. I want to hear them. I want to share them. I think it's so interesting. But Jaylin, you found a story.
Yes, I found a story on Churchill Downs. So the night was heavy with silence at Churchill Downs as Ronnie, this is rough, Dresdat, the manager of education services at the Kentucky Derby Museum, found himself alone in the museum office. The only sound that filled the air was the faint echo of a distant whinny, and the sense of isolation was palpable. As Ronnie wandered through the quiet, dimly lit hallways, an uncanny chill seemed to fill the atmosphere, setting his senses on the edge. The weight of centuries of history seemed to linger in the stillness, as if the very air itself held the echoes of bygone eras. Ronnie's footsteps pounded out a haunting rhythm as he navigated the deserted corridors, each step seeming to unlock unsettling tales of the track's storied past. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was not alone, as if unseen eyes were fixed upon him from the shadows. The museum's exhibit seemed to hold the secrets of the racetrack's haunting history within its very walls. Ronnie's heart raced as he pondered the possibility of encountering spectral remnants of the track's tragic past, such as the lingering spirits of fallen jockeys, who legends suggested continued to dwell within the racetrack, seeking solace for their untimely ends. As he emerged from the museum that night, Ronnie couldn't shake the bone-chilling awareness of the unseen forces that seemed to linger within the hallowed grounds of Churchill Downs. The encounter left him with an impression of the presence of something otherworldly, forever haunting the quiet corners of the historic racetrack.
Ooh.
Churchill's pretty freaking old, and there has been a lot of people pass through those gates. So I am not surprised, and I don't think I would want to be there at night by myself. So
No, I don't
Have
think
you
so either.
guys have you guys been to Churchill? Anybody got in spooky feels?
Can't say I have.
I have been there. I did a tour. They weren't racing. I was there when Keelan was racing, but yeah, it gives spooky vibes. I think all the racetracks do that are that old. Kind of give like a little bit of a you're not the only one that's been here, and they're old. Especially those two towers. I think the two towers on Churchill, the two steeples, are kind of creepy, honestly. All right, Lisa.
Okay.
Get me goosebumps.
All right, so this one's actually pretty cool. So this is from Del Mar Track, also known as where the surf meets the dirt. I think that's pretty catchy. Okay, so it's said to have some paranormal activity after the sun sets. There's been whispers of ghostly visitors roaming the grounds of Del Mar have forever been a part of its mysterious allure. Back in 1985, the Del Mar Grandstand was deemed unsafe, which, let's be honest, that happens to a lot of racetracks, and it underwent extensive renovations. It was originally constructed back in 1937 by the legendary figures Bing Crosby and Pat O'Brien, when the safety regulations were not nearly as intense as they are now. The reconstruction in 1991 led to some to believe that it may have stirred up otherworldly entities that now haunt the upper level of the Grandstand Turf Club. Numerous racetracks employees have reported of eerie occurrences after hours, from strange, weird voices and unexplained cold spots that linger throughout the hallways. In 2015, this is where it gets interesting. The racetrack actually had a paranormal investigation team come in called South Coast Paranormal to explore the turf club and the grandstand during the late hours. What they captured on the film only adds to how weird this is. So, the investigators claimed that they heard mysterious voices in a silent bar, laughter, and even drink orders. A mysterious figure was then captured on camera moving across the bar that led to these tales feeling so much more true. So one particularly compelling theory revolves around the ghost of the late Charlie Whittingham, a beloved trainer from Del Mar. His presence is still felt in the racetrack's decor, where he was known to sit back and enjoy a martini. The investigators' shadowy figure resembled Whittingham from when they caught it on camera. But okay, so let's be honest, if you were coming back as a ghost, wouldn't you want to go sit at a bar and drink martinis and watch horse racing?
I would.
Right? Like, that sounds super fun. So anyway, unlike the vengeful spirits of other places, the ones here are completely harmless. I think that they could just be special visitors in former horse players coming back to cash some unknown tickets. So
I agree.
You can also check this out. Here we've added a link from the South Coast Paranormal in the description of this episode on YouTube, and you can go check it out for yourself.
I don't know. Breeders' Cup is at Del Mar this year. So that kind of gives me incentive.
Yeah, we should bring Wyatt and we can really ghost hunt.
Yeah, he can take out his little cell phone with his app, see if he can see anything. Well, moving on to my story, which is a personal paranormal encounter that I had back when I worked at Pimlico at Old Hilltop. For those of you who don't know, I was working in the Preakness ticket office for quite some time, so I can't quite remember exactly what year this was. It was in the beginning stages, probably like my first year or two. So I'm going to say either 13 or 14, 2013 or 14. And after Preakness, because that's majority what we worked on all year, we would be assigned these tasks to do during, I don't know, the down season, like the summertime. So we got our list of things that management would like us to help with when we weren't as busy as we usually are. And weirdly enough, if you don't know the history of Pimlico, the original, clubhouse did burn down at one time, but half of the building was like the grandstand was still there. It's all wooden. And Pimlico actually opened on October 25th, 1870. And this episode, and this is not planned, people, is set to air on October 25th of 2024. So I thought that was kind of spooky, right?
It's a coincidence.
It opened on the 25th and we're airing on the 25th. So like I said, we were given our list of things to do, and one of our things to do was to clean out these storage closets that we had on the old side of the grandstand. So over the years accumulated Black-Eyed Susan glasses, signage, and some of the people that worked for the Maryland Jockey Club were hoarders. Let's just put it frankly. They kept everything. Like, it was treasures. So we were told, clean them out. We need the space. Like, it's honestly like a fire hazard to have all these like signage, cardboard. Like, we don't need all this. We need some cleaner areas. We have things to store in there that aren't old signage from the 70s. So we go up, and it's just me and another guy that I worked with. Our boss was actually in meetings all morning, and she was going to come up later on and check on us. But so we go up, and this grandstand's all made out of wood. Everything is wood. And behind the seats at the very top is like an aisleway where they would have like the mutual lines and the concession stands. And we go up there to go check out these closets. We realize how big of a job it's going to be. We're going to be up there all week and it is hot and this is not going to be fun. And they're right next to these bathrooms. And I'll never forget what these bathrooms looked like. They looked like something out of Harry Potter. The toilets, to flush them, you literally had to like pull a chain up out of the middle. Oh. It was bizarro world. Like it's weird. And they had like these big trough sinks. I can't say like how old it was. Like, it was so old. And those toilets in that bathroom was so weird. And like the stalls had like 2 stalls, like almost like swinging barn doors, like for each stall. And then they closed in the middle, and then they latched in the center. So it was like
Western vibes.
Yeah, but for like a toilet stall. Weird.
I feel like I've only seen that at like a bar.
Okay, well, I had never seen that before. And they were wood too. So we look at the bathrooms and we're like, actually people still use these, and how aren't our maintenance crew like maintaining them like nonstop during Preakness if they're actually being used? Because I just imagine these things like getting clogged. I don't know. It's just they're so old. It was so weird. And we stopped, going around and adventuring and checking things out. And we go in and we're working for probably like 2 hours and no one's there. There's only 7 of us that like actually worked in the building in the off season. All the horses had left at that time. No one's training. There is our little office of 3, a lady who's on the other side that does mutuals for the simulcast floor that's on the news side of the building. And we have an accountant, payroll person, and a front desk person. Like, there's no one there. And we start hearing like footsteps. And it's wooden out there and it's open air. And we're like, what the heck? Is that Donnell coming? So I got up and was like, I'll go tell her like we're back in this back room. Like, hello, like why are you like walking around out there? This is where we are. You know where we are. And I go out there and no one's there. And I'm like, Ty, no one's there. No one's there. He's like, shut up. I'm like, no. And it was just like so distinct. It almost sounded like a lady's high heel, but not. I'm guessing it was like an older type shoe. I don't know. But it had like a click to it and it was close. And then we could hear it in the bathrooms clicking around because it shared a wall with the room that we were like in the storage room looking at stuff. And we could distinctly hear someone like walking and pacing and kind of like dragging their feet on the dirt and like on the wood. And we're like, what? And then I would say like 30 minutes later, it kind of like quieted down and like we're freaking out, but we hadn't left yet. And yeah, because we do leave. We start hearing like muffled people talking and it's men's voices and they sound like they're from a distance. And we couldn't like, they were arguing. You could tell like someone was angry and not happy. And I didn't go out that time. I sent him out. And you could hear it echo against the covering of the grandstand. It kind of makes an echoey sound. You could hear them having a very stern conversation, but it kept on going like in and out, like someone like playing with the volume on your radio. Like it would be real quiet and then it would get real loud and it would get real quiet. And that's when we skedaddled our butts out of there. We were done. I was done for the day. We did end up going back, but not that day. We pieced because it was super bizarre because I had never heard like audible, like paranormal voices before. And it's just like something you can never like explain to somebody unless they've experienced it. I couldn't understand what they're saying. I could just understand like the tone of the conversation was like someone was not happy. And I did not want to be around an angry ghost, like a ghost just like walking around. Like I'll hang out with you, but a ghost that's like fighting another ghost.
No thanks.
I guess that guy might have gave him like a wrong pick or something, like, or maybe it was a trainer yelling at a jockey. I don't know, but it was in the back of the grandstand, and they were not happy. A bookie was in trouble or something.
I think ghosts follow you. You have that ghost in your house.
I do. I do have a ghost in my house. But he's a friendly ghost. And I've had some people come and do, readings. And I had a psychic come and speak with him, and he does not want to be moved on. He actually lived in our neighborhood, and he died fairly young. So he's young, and he had brothers, and he is very much, he actually lived across the street. He comes here because he's attracted to my sons and the positive energy and the laughter. And he's very protective of our house. We also have some ghosts in my backyard in the trees. We have some Native American ghosts and my fir trees in the backyard, which we keep them at bay with some salt and some crystals that we put in the ground. Every spring I do a refresh. Got to get a kosher salt line. That's what keeps the bad out. Kosher salt. And then you also have to have a friendly ghost. Friendly ghosts help.
If you say so.
Yeah, we're getting an education today, Jaylin.
If I didn't know you, I would tell you need to go to the psych ward.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I don't know. I mean, I ghost hunted back in high school. We would go to places and ghost hunt. I don't know. I loved the show Ghost Hunter back in the day, and Paranormal State. Paranormal State was my favorite. That was a good show. It was college kids from Penn State that had a paranormal club and did like investigations. It was good. They got their own TV show from Penn State. I loved Paranormal State. They had some like serious scandal down the road. We won't bring that up, Ryan. But yeah. I loved those ghost shows. I loved all that. The original reality TV was, for me, haunted shows, paranormal shows. I loved it. All right. Well, that was my ghost story. And that was probably like I said, that was the only time I ever heard a ghost speak. I've heard ghosts walk. I felt ghosts. I've had ghosts touch me, which is a weird feeling. But yeah, they like tinkle. Ugh. It's like getting goosebumps or like a cold chill.
I think I'm gonna have nightmares tonight now.
Me too.
So I blame you. When I don't sleep tonight, it's all your fault.
Sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're friendly ghosts that touch you. Mine wasn't a bad touch. It was a friendly touch. I guess. I don't know. Not that friendly. It was just like a touch on my back. And I could feel it like a hand. Like they were like moving me along. Like, just keep walking.
No. I don't want people to touch me. And I definitely don't want a ghost to touch me.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I guess this will take us to our hot seat since I'm getting super judged by Judgy Jaylin. So judge me some more. We're going to go around. We each have some hot seat questions and we're all going to answer them. And Jaylin, kick us off.
I'm probably really going to judge you with this one. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Candy corn.
Oh.
Okay.
So I'm just a chewy candy girl. Starburst, Swedish Fish, anything like that, I'm in. I love anything chewy.
But did people I don't think people passed out chewy candy for Halloween, did they? Mine was like always chocolate. And maybe the Starburst and like stupid Twizzlers.
Yeah, no, not Twizzlers. I'm not a Twizzler girl, but Starburst and Swedish Fish, I'm all in on that.
I love Swedish Fish. My favorite Halloween candy, the two things I always looked for in my bucket were Kit Kats and Milk Duds.
Milk
Oh,
duds?
milk duds. I forgot those exist. Yeah.
I just got
Weird.
a
Get
box a
stuck
couple weeks ago. They are
stuck in
so
your
good.
teeth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no one hands out candy corn. I have to go buy that in a bag myself. So if I'm digging through my
Because it's
kids'
the worst.
It's
no,
because you're
it's
eating Play-Doh. It's like
I love
essentially
it.
what you're eating.
I don't know. I
I
don't know
saw a
why.
tick I saw a TikTok a couple weeks ago of like a foreign exchange student over here, and they had her try candy corn. And nobody, what even is the flavor of candy corn? She was like, what even is the flavor? And nobody knew what to say.
It's like sugar.
Nothing.
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 I will dig out of my son's trick or treat bags Reese's Pieces. I love Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
I'm sure horses would love Reese's Pieces too.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe a little
Okay.
peanut butter.
All right. So, what was your worst Halloween costume as a child?
Um,
I only have like two costumes I know of because I don't remember any of my childhood. But like as a kid, I was like a cheerleader one year, and then I think the following year I was like Britney Spears, and I had like a
Oh.
whole mic on my ear, and I think like a crop top. I'll have to try to find that photo.
Oh. Ashley?
when my mom dressed me up as strawberry shortcake and like gave me like the circles on my
Yeah.
cheeks, the bright red ones, and like then she took eyeliner and gave me like the freckles, like I was strawberry shortcake. Oh, you can tell in the picture if I can find it. It's me and my brother. My brother's like a GI Joe or something. I am miserable, and I had on bright red lipstick. I am mean mugging my mom so hard in this picture, and I was probably like 5. So I'm gonna go with that was the worst one because I look like miserable. I can't remember it, but I don't look happy about it.
Did she make the costume?
Oh no.
Oh.
Sue didn't. My grandmother
Oh.
made costumes, but Sue Wood did not make
I would think
costumes.
Sue would be making your costumes every year.
No, she can't sew. She's good at buying stuff. She bought me she'll tell you, a very expensive Dalmatian costume when I was in middle
Oh.
school from the Disney store.
Wow.
And I was supposed to be that for years because of how expensive it was.
Yeah. So mine actually is I'm going to go with all of them because
Great
the rule
answer.
of thumb in northeastern Pennsylvania is that you will always have snow by Halloween. Always. So my mom bought all of my costumes a size too big so you could fit your snowsuit under it. So, I mean, let's be honest, a snowsuit under your princess costume is just not cute. So you could never be cute. You couldn't be a cute little strawberry shortcake with your rosy cheeks because you were freezing and you probably had on earmuffs or a hat and gloves because it always happens. And mark my words, you watch. You keep an eye on the weather, and when Halloween comes, I guarantee you we will have either snow or snow flurries by then.
That's actually kind of traumatizing.
It is. It was never fun. Yeah, it was awful.
All right. Have you ever done a Halloween prank on someone?
I don't like Halloween.
You never played a trick?
No.
You're lame. You're lame.
All I did was trick or treat. That was it.
That was the extent.
Yes.
All right, so I haven't, but I have a coworker at the golf course that I work at, and she is known to keep a werewolf mask in the trunk of her car. And many times Bonnie has been like, "Oh, will you go downstairs and lock the doors to the locker room?" And he'll be like, "Okay, yeah, sure." And you run down the steps. Now, keep in mind, the golf course I work at is very ancient as well, so I'm sure there are probably a lot of ghost stories about it. And I can't tell you how many times you'll come back up the steps and all of a sudden a werewolf will jump out from behind the bar because she keeps it in the trunk of her car. And then there's other times where you'll pull into the parking lot and you'll park next to her and then she'll just look over and she's a werewolf.
Well, I have. I
Oh,
I
you've pranked
don't want
someone?
to. Oh, I pranked somebody. I've done it multiple, but the best one is, but the werewolf thing's pretty good. Like,
It's
I love a
scary,
good
especially
scare.
when all the lights are off and you're just like meandering up the steps after a long shift. You're tired, you're ready to go home, and then all of a sudden, wham! There's a werewolf.
That would scare the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
So my prank was an innocent one. In middle school, we had a sleepover in my neighborhood, and it wasn't at my house, but the girl lived like right down the street. And we went out, and you know how people put up all their my neighborhood goes all out for Halloween. That's probably why I love it so much. Like they really decorate their houses. And there's two houses that like look exactly alike. They're both like split level houses. We took their decorations from their one house on the one side of the street and put them on the other house, and we basically swapped their decorations. Too perfect. It was like to a T. I don't know how we like it was good memorization. So then they went out on the porch and they saw all their Halloween decorations on their neighbor's house. We thought it was hilarious. Well, there was another group of girls that were part of this sleepover that went and took things a little too far. And I guess like some things were taken from a house and they broke some things or like smashed a pumpkin or two. And someone in the group ratted. We had a rat in the group. And of course, since it was just my street and my neighborhood as well, and my parents found out about it, I had to go back
And apologize.
And apologize and clean everything up because all these other girls got to go home to their neighborhoods and their houses. Like they had to see these people. Nope. My butt was at all of these houses, the ones I didn't even do. It was just me and another good girl in the group that thought we were funny. And actually, those neighbors thought it was hilarious that we swapped their decorations. Like they thought it was really funny. They didn't mind at all. But I did have to go put everything back. But I was also picking up pumpkin guts and replacing things for the other girls in the group. And I hope some of them are listening. Bunch of bad apples.
That's very clever and would take a lot of work.
It was. We were out there for a while. I'm surprised we didn't get caught. But it was just me and one other girl. We each had assigned a yard.
There were no ring cameras back then.
No, there wasn't. You can't get away with anything now.
No.
All right, next one. Next hot seat question.
What is your favorite scary movie?
I don't know. I'm not a scary kind of girl. I'm like Jaylin. I don't really like Halloween. I don't like being scared.
What's the last scary movie you watched?
I don't even know. Like, I couldn't even tell you what it was called. I, remember a group of us in high school went to the movies, and it was terrifying. Like, I don't do, those haunted houses and stuff like that.
Nope.
Don't invite me.
Nope.
Forget my number when you're sending the group text. I'm not going. I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm just not going. I don't like to be scared.
When I was the catering manager, I would take all my employees on the Field of Screams. I was like, okay, I'm getting the tickets. I would take 20 high school kids, and I was only 24 at the time.
Nope.
I'm like, we're all going to Field of Screams. I'm going to watch you little kids, all my little catering workers, get their pants screamed off.
No.
Yep.
The first year Jamal and I were dating, he was like, do you want to go to Field of Screams with me and my friends? And I was like, I'll sit in the car the whole time. I will not exit the car at all.
All right. Well, mine is either Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday.
Okay.
I have none. I was traumatized.
Yeah, so I'm just going to take a pass. Can I take a pass on that one?
Fine, take a pass.
I was traumatized watching The Ring at 7 years old.
Yeah,
that's what ruined it for me.
No, thank you. Nope.
The little girl crawling on the ceiling is kind of traumatic.
Crawling out of the TV. I still don't like black screen TVs. Nope.
Okay. Yum or yuck to eating pumpkin seeds?
Yuck.
Ashley?
I'm going to say yuck, but I do it every year. I don't know why. For the kids, just to do it. And I'll put I don't know, cinnamon and sugar, and we've also like made them spicy and put paprika and chili powder on them. Like there's a lot of different ways. I just don't like, I don't know if it's how I cook them. So if anybody has any like pumpkin seed recipes for me, please let me know. But I will eat pumpkin seeds like at the store. If I go like buy a bag of them, like I think they taste good then, but it's just whenever I make them, they're like rubbery. I don't know. I'm not doing it right.
Put them in the air fryer.
Oh, that is a good idea.
Mm.
So I feel like the experience of making the pumpkin seeds is more fun than eating the pumpkin seeds. So I'll say yes to making them, but yuck to eating them.
I'm agreeing with you there.
We never made our pumpkin seeds. They always went in the trash.
The trash, yeah.
That describes my childhood.
Jaylin, we need to get you some happier Halloween memories, man.
It will happen when I have my own kids and start my own traditions. That's when it will get better.
Would you rather come in contact with a vampire or a werewolf?
I am vampire. I am hashtag Team Edward. I love Twilight.
So I would have to say maybe a werewolf, because I feel like you could charm the werewolf off with like some treats or an apple or something, and you could kind of like talk your way out of getting attacked by the werewolf if you could charm him a little bit.
I think you might have better luck like charming a vampire.
Maybe, but I mean, if you like, you could maybe give him like an apple or some horse treats or a sweet potato, and maybe they'd be like, "Oh, you're not so bad. I don't want to kill you."
You're trying to train the werewolf then.
Yeah, how to train your werewolf instead of your dragon.
Okay. It's impressive. Coming from you, I get that. Like, you would try to train a werewolf. You'd be like, look, positive reinforcement. I'm going to give you a treat if you don't eat me.
Don't eat me. I'll give you a sweet potato.
You love sweet potato. You don't like my flesh.
My horses love sweet potatoes too.
And molasses. So,
yes.
So maybe they like molasses. That's a very fall. Molasses is a very fall thing.
It is.
Like.
Is it?
Yeah. Seems like it.
Well, I would say I am Team Jacob. I love Twilight too, and I would like encounter a werewolf like Lisa. I don't think I'd try to train it, but
I wouldn't train it. I would just try to bribe it.
I would scratch behind its ears.
Yeah, see, because it would be cuddly.
Maybe, or I would climb a tree, and it couldn't get to me because freaking vampires can fly. Jaylin, think about that.
The werewolves can't climb the trees the whole way.
Yeah, but the vampires can fly.
I know. I would love to be a vampire.
But would you want to encounter one, like in like a scary situation?
I would say, change me, please. I will join your clan.
Take me, make me a Cullen.
Yes.
That is like really disturbing, Jaylin. You're like, I can't wait to go.
Well, and then you get to live forever.
True.
Unless they burn you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think vampires are sweet. Like, also, I'm young. The Wizards of Waverly Place. They had some encounters with vampires, and they were super nice. They were ever able to talk them away from taking over. So
see, that's what I would do to the werewolf. I would talk him out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You could try. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that does it for the hot seat. I guess we all survived it. We've all learned a little more about Judgy Jaylin. She wants to be a vampire. And we're going to wrap up this episode, but not until somebody asks me about my favorite co-host.
Oh.
Oh, we can't see it now.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Look at you.
This is my track rat.
Oh.
Because you know the rats at racetracks, especially at Pimlico, they were like the size of kittens. And this one is the size of a kitten.
It is.
You got him from
big.
Pimlico.
Probably. Because, you know, the racetrack rats, they have good eating. Like if they're out in the barn, like they're eating well. And you're hoping they don't get into anything that you don't want them to. But they eat well. They either have cat food from the barn cats.
So is your house decorated in like scary Halloween or like nice Halloween? Because I feel like if you just have a rat skeleton hanging around in your house, that your outside is probably terrifying.
My outside's good. It's pretty good. Rob has not allowed me to buy the skeleton of the horse yet.
Yeah, those are too much. I don't like them.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
Do you have tombstones out in your front yard?
Yes.
No. See,
we have bats.
Mums and pumpkins. That's all I got.
I have a very eclectic. There's some parts of the house that are very Halloween-y, and then there's some parts that are very just harvesty fall. So
I've got my leaves back there. I've got my pumpkins out and my leaves. I'm ready.
I have three little pumpkins. I have a pumpkin dish towel and then a pumpkin doormat. That's all I got.
There you go. Yeah.
I think I took down 5 totes of fall and Halloween decorations. I have more fall. I probably still have more Christmas, but my fall is really coming close to the amount of Christmas decorations I have.
So before I moved out of my parents, I would decorate my mom and dad's house, and my mom was finally like, no more leaves. No more of these little fall leaves. I'm picking up leaves every time I turn around. So that was really not fun because the leaves are so cute. You can just like set them everywhere and it just feels so like cutesy and fall.
I like to dust too much, so the leaves wouldn't do it for me.
True.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on this spooky episode of Hot to Trot, and everyone bearing with me as I was in all of my glory talking all things paranormal and creepy, because now everyone knows this is what I like. When I'm not doing horse racing stuff, I am watching paranormal TV shows and telling ghost stories.
Everybody should know that Ashley falls asleep every night to true crime podcasts.
Oh.
It's comforting.
So, if you ever want to get rid of a body, call Ashley. She'll be your helper.
So many ways. I'm not putting it out there because I'm going to be put on way too many lists.
So many things.
Way too many. But I have really good ideas. DM me. I don't want to put it out there publicly on the podcast, though. And also, don't mess with me. I know how to get rid of bodies. Putting it out there. I'm a good friend to have, Lisa, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'll help you get rid of the body. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And remember, if you want to do something different this Halloween and you're not planning on going trick-or-treating, you can head over to a racetrack, Philadelphia, Harris, Philadelphia. We have the Meadows Open, and also Penn National will be racing. And hopefully they're going to have some spooky stuff for us to do at the racetrack on those nights. We'll find out and post them on our social media. And make sure you check us out on our Hot to Trot TikTok, because I'm still posting there. And thank you. Thank you to my spooky round table that indulged my haunted episode.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
All right. We'll catch you guys later and have a great Halloween.
Thanks for listening, and thank you to the Standardbred Breeders of Pennsylvania for sponsoring Hot to Trot. We'll see you next time.